How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to another Gundam card game video here on Red Zone Rogue. Today we have our very first budget deck tech video. We have 3 decks we're going to go over today, and we'll talk about what exactly I mean by budget and some of the other stipulations, because card prices for the Gundam card game right now are fluctuating wildly. And so when I first made all of these decks, well, card prices were different and a little bit cheaper, so we'll talk about that as we go on. But I tried to make them as budget friendly as possible, and I tried to make them as strong as possible within these confines, so you don't break the bank, but you also have competent decks. And before we get started, I'd want to, give something back to the folks watching this video. So, and by the folks, I mean one person. We're gonna do a giveaway. So, I was thinking, since the game is pretty hard to get right now, and I genuinely really love the Gundam card game, I want it to grow, I want more people to play it, I want you to play it. I was like, it's difficult to get product for everyone. For you, for me, unless you're living in like Europe, which I hear is a lot easier, but in the United States, it's very difficult. And so I was looking for good prices on the starter decks. That's something we're gonna talk about a lot today, because most of the decks you play with for the Gundam card game, you'll need 1 or 2 starter decks, sometimes up to 3 or 4, depending on which deck we're talking about. 2 of one, and then maybe 1 of another. So anyway, long story short, hey, we're gonna give away some starter decks. So I have the Zeon's Rush, the Wings of Advance, as well as the Seed Strike starter decks. We're gonna give these away to one lucky person in the comment section. Now, there's a little bit of a caveat to these. These are opened and they don't have the special like little promo pack inside, because I actually bought these from someone off of the Facebook Marketplace for $13 each. I was just really trying to find a good way to like get some affordable decks and get them out to someone out there. So they only had these 3. It is what it is, and they didn't come with the special pack inside. But hey, someone's gonna get 3 decks for free. And then on top of that, I also want to give you some cards to help upgrade those said decks. So we have 4 of the Char's Zaku 2 to upgrade the Zeon's Rush deck. We have 4 of the Overflowing Affection. This is a $2 uncommon that you can use to upgrade the Seed deck. And then we have 4, and this is like a $1 to $2 uncommon as well, 4 of a Show of Resolve to upgrade the Wing deck. So you'll get the 3 decks. You'll get all these cards, which are basically staples for the Gundam card game. And all you have to do to enter is comment down below the deck that you are most excited to play and build. Doesn't have to be from these, just in general for the Gundam card game. If you already have a deck that you play and build, you can comment that one, but I would really like these to go to someone who wants to play the game and hasn't had the opportunity to do so, because availability is so difficult right now. So yeah, enter, comment down below. Oh yeah, also like and subscribe and stuff. I mean, you should do that anyway, but also do it for the giveaway too. Anyway, okay, so let's go ahead and jump into our overlay, and we'll start talking about the budget decks. I think they're actually really good, and they're really solid. And one of the decks is literally one of the decks that I'm playing right now. All right, so the first one is going to be a budget version of a blue-white blockers deck. And as you can see here, we basically use a couple starter decks. So we do need 2 copies of the Seed Strike starter deck, as well as at least 1 copy of the starter deck 1, because we need our Amuro Rays, and then we also need the Zawarts as well. Once again, Overflowing Affection and Show of Resolves. These are both $2, and the prices come down a little bit on a Show of Resolve, but $2 and $1 uncommons. Other things to note, the Perfect Strike Gundam here is a $6 rare currently, so you do need 4 copies of that. But other than that, it's a pretty budget-friendly deck. The only LR we're running from the booster set is the Gundam Aerial Rebuild, and that one is currently sitting at $10 a piece. So this deck essentially is going to be about 40 plus another 20, 25-ish, depending on how much you can pick these up for, plus some of the other starters. So like this is going to be around the $60 to $80 range, not counting the starter decks. Now, I want to talk about the starter decks right now. The starter deck pricing is absolutely insane. The Heroic Beginning starter deck 1 is $42. This is unopened, so it has the It has the little promo pack. It does have the opportunity to have a god deck in it, which is why one of the main reasons why these are so expensive. You can usually get them open for cheaper. I would shop around and not use TCG Player for that. I would shop around on places like the Facebook Market, or maybe even on eBay, to just try to find what they call bricks that are just have the decks and then nothing else inside. Like I said, I found these ones for $13 each. So hopefully you can shop around. But all the decks are pretty expensive. $35 for the Wings of Advance, $30 for the Zeon's Rush, and almost $30 for the Seed Strike. So most of these decks, you're gonna need at least a couple of the starters, which is very unfortunate. But it's just something that is how it is right now for the Gundam card game. Hopefully we have another restock of these soon. I have heard word that we will be getting more restocks of these very soon. And then you can get them at MSRP, which is $12. So currently I would pay anything from maybe MSRP to up to $20, but this is ridiculous. I would shop around or wait on this kind of stuff, but it's just where we are with the Gundam card game, so we have to kind of like factor that into the decks. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to play much at all. But assuming you can get the starter decks at a good price, this is pretty budget friendly. You don't technically need all 4 of your Gundam aerials. You can kind of cut these for something else a little bit more affordable. Oh, and I also want to mention the Gundam Lifrith. So this one, it's a $2 common as well. So the Lifrith, the Show of Resolve, the Overflowing Affection, and the Perfect Strike Gundam, these will be the bulk of your singles pricing outside of your aerial rebuild, which once again we saw is $10 each. Yeah, so once again, we're trying to get it at a lower price, and this forms the foundation of one of the best decks in the game right now. You just need to get some Freedom Strike Gundams, some Freedom Gundams, and you are off to the race. So, yeah, so that is our first deck. Our second deck is a mid-range Zeon deck. I like this one quite a bit. It's pretty close to a build that I'm currently running. This deck is incredibly affordable with one exception, and that is Char's Gelgoog. So Char's Gelgoog currently is running for about $20. So 2 Gelgoogs here is $40, and then almost everything else is very affordable or from the Zeon Rush starter deck, which, as you saw, was about $30. Once again, the prices here are absolutely insane. Try to get a lower price. Try to shop around or wait for reprints. But once those happen, you get the starter decks at a decent price, maybe like paying $30-ish to $40 for two starter decks. And then you have the Gelgoogs, which are $20 each. Once again, this will clock in at less than $100. If you cut the Gelgoogs for something else, like just the regular Gelgoog, for example, this deck is insanely affordable. Basically just some starter deck and some very, very, very cheap cards. And I think the deck is actually really, really solid. If you would like to upgrade this, well, you're going to be putting 2 more Gelgoogs in here. And I also really like, in this deck that I'm running in my personal build, Kshatriyas, as well as Marita Cruz, which they are definitely not budget. Kshatriyas are $37 each, and Marita, she's almost an $8 card. So if you're getting like at least 3 here and 3 here, that's over the budget of the entire deck. just the 3 Kshatriyas. So yeah, but I do think this deck is really strong. It's basically a mid-range style deck rather than a full-on aggro Zeon deck, and I really like the mid-range version more. You have a lot of like this mid-range power that has some late game like powerhouses like the Shamblo, which I think is actually really good. And Shamblo links with all of our pilots because it links with both new type and cyber new type, which Char and Full Frontal are. And then if you upgrade this with Marita Cruz, she's also a cyber new type, so you can this thing actually links with all of our dudes. It pairs really well with something like a Goof, which you get this effect if you attack and you have 2 or more other rested friendly units, and Goof puts 2 dudes on the board. So pretty solid. I like this deck quite a bit, and I'm running like an upgraded version of this as one of my main decks. We'll do a whole video on like my actual upgraded version of this eventually, but I think this is a pretty good starting point, especially if you can get the starter decks at a good price. Very, very affordable. Once again, you can just cut the Gelgoogs, and it's insanely affordable. One of the most affordable decks in the game right now. But if you want to spice it up, add 2 more Gelgoogs, add your Kshatriyas, and you're good to go. And then the final deck that I want to talk about today is a red-white I think I'm going to call this a, this is a support breach Zaft deck. And this is literally the exact deck that I am currently running. I have it actually built right here. I have this deck built. This is one of the decks I'm playing. I think this deck is super, super fun. And when I first made this deck and I first scripted out this video, this deck was super, super cheap, but prices have gone up across the board for the Gundam card game, which is unfortunate. It still runs the 3 cheapest, or among the 3 cheapest LRs, but when I first recorded this, these were like $3 each, and they have now shot up to about $7 a pop. And you do run all 3 of them. In addition to that, we will be wanting 2 of the Seed Strike decks, because we also have the Aegis Gundam. But I think this deck is super, super fun. We have our pilots that work really, really well with stuff like our Dual Gundam, because we just need Zaft. So all of our pilots, all 12 of our pilots can link up with the Dual Gundam. We have Atherin Zala, who links up with the Justice Gundam, as well as the Aegis Gundam, as well as this Aegis Gundam, as well as this Dual Gundam. So he links up with a huge, huge chunk of our deck. And then we have these 2, which I think are actually pretty solid. They're not the best pilots in the game, but they have this card advantage built in. Whereas Dirka here, when he's linked, you discard a card and then draw a card, so pretty good little filtering. And then Isaac Jewel, when an enemy link is destroyed, I apologize if I pronounce his name wrong. I have not seed yet. When an enemy link unit is destroyed with damage from this unit, you get to draw a card, which is really, really sweet. And that's what we want to do. We want to slap him on a dude, slap him on one of our mobile suits, and then destroy their guys, draw some cards. We have a lot of breach effects with the Aegis Gundam here, as well as the Dual Gundam, and we're running 4 copies of the Gamau, which can give any of our Zaft units breach that has 5 or more AP. And the way we do that is from our support unit. So we have the Bukyu, I like to call this Bruce, that has a support 2. As well as we're running 2 of the Gazadi sleeves, not a Zaft, but it's still a low-cost support 2, which works well with this kind of strategy. And then we have the big support. We have the Buster Gundam, which does a support 3, and if you set it up, you can do it twice. And so we basically just want to give our stuff breach if they don't have it. So like giving like this Aegis Gundam breach, slapping on an Atherin Zala, giving this breach, triggering its effect, triggering Atherin Zala's effect. You get a lot of advantage with this deck. I think it might be one of the most underrated decks in the game right now. And we are running stuff like the Justice Gundam, which I think gets a lot of hate, but I actually really like the Justice Gundam. It's a nice little 2-for-1 at the base, because you get a 5-5 and a 2-2, even without any pairs. But if you do pair it with Atherin Zala, you can actually get a double attack. So this is actually a 1 card, or I guess a 2 card, because you need Atherin Zala. But it's like a 2 attack at your opponent's base if you want to, and you can actually close out the game with this decently well. You can have the Justice Gundam smash on in at the base, and then you can have the little token that it makes come in at their shields. So it's actually pretty solid. I actually think this is not the best LR in the game, but I think it's pretty unfairly maligned. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people think it is. I think it's actually solid. Not the best, but I don't think it's quite as bad. And then we also have a lot of other card advantage engines, like with the Dual Gundam, which lets you look at when you link it or when you pair it, you can look at the top 3 and put a Zaft unit 4 or less cost or 4 or less level right onto the field. So we have some really nice targets with the Buster Gundam, and then we have targets with like the Aegis Gundam and this Aegis Gundam as well. So I think this deck is pretty sweet, and I think it's worth trying, and I think it is fairly budget friendly right now, because all the LRs are 7 a pop. Once again, we are running the full set, so these are 28 for a play set currently, more or less, 20, 30-ish. So for all of these, about $90 plus your 2 starters. So it's close-ish to that $100 price point, and if the price on these go down, then it's going to be even cheaper. So yeah, those are the 3 decks. Like I said, we tried to get them good and still like around that $100, or we try to get them less. Decks like this mid-range Zeon deck definitely are on the lower side of thing, especially if you cut something like the Gelgoog, because then it's just like running starter deck cards as well as some other cards from the booster set 1. Once again, mid-range deck. Char Aznable is a absolute powerhouse in this deck, giving our Zakus and our Gelgoog here high maneuver, so we can attack into our opponent without having to worry about their blockers. Similar with the Shinonju, and once again, some late game staying power. We also have some early-ish game removal with stuff like Battle of Aces and Close Combat, and then Relula can actually set up turns where we ping their dude for 1, and then we also can then ping it for another 3 with Battle of Aces to kind of finish it off. And that 4 damage kind of combo there can get rid of most units in the game, which is pretty solid. We also have other stuff like Rick Dom for backup, as well as our 4 Gazadis to help pump up our dudes if we need to. So yeah, I like these decks quite a bit. All 3 of these decks are versions or literally the exact same deck that I personally run right now in the Gundam card game. We will do full deck techs for these 2, which we have now. We might even do a full deck tech and gameplay of the Zaft deck as well. I think it's pretty solid. And this deck, I didn't really go over how it plays too much. I just kind of assumed a lot of people know, but this is like your blue-white blockers deck. You have a lot of early game blockers to kind of like protect your life. Lifrith is really, really solid in that. Instead of going for the Unicorn Gundam package, which is 1, more expensive, but 2, a different strategy, we're going for a Soletta Mercury package that has the Darrowbald, which she can link up with, as well as the Gundam Aerial. And the Gundam Aerial is helps get some of our really strong command cards back. So we're running Overflowing Affection for card draw, Show of Resolve for card draw, as well as some Striker packs to help put some like token units on the field, and we can actually get that back with our Gundam Aerial. So this is kind of like getting back units too. And you can also do something where you play your Gundam Aerial on level 6 for 5 costs, link it up with Soletta Mercury. And then you can get something like Overflowing Affection back, and then play it immediately because of Soletta Mercury's effect after she attacks. So I think it's a really, really solid, starting point for the blue-white blockers deck. You have like some of the best cards in it. You're just missing like your big Freedom Gundam, and if you wanted to kind of go into like the Unicorn Gundam, that is a path to upgrade into. So yeah, those are the 3 decks. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Once again, go ahead and let's go back to me. Hello. Once again, go ahead and comment the deck that you are most looking to play in the Gundam card game in the comment section down below. It doesn't have to be from this video, just any deck and any cards, and you'll be entered to win one of these. I'm going to choose at random. I'll probably choose maybe in like a couple weeks from now, maybe a week or 2, and then I'll mail these to you. Mail these 3 to you, as well as the some of these cards. Yeah. So thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the support on the Gundam card game content. As I mentioned, I genuinely really, really love this game. I just want it to grow and to succeed, and I want more people to play it. And hopefully this video helps with that. Hopefully this video gives some people some ideas for some budget lists, and hopefully one lucky person out there will jump start their Gundam card game journey. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, comment for the giveaway. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. See you next time.